Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So welcome to today's Sunday Feast class. I have been to speak the importance of association. This is actually a very important topic because our spiritual progress, our advancement, our understanding of the philosophy, clarification of doubts, our deepening of relationships, everything takes place in the crucible of association of devotees. So I would like to share with you this very important verse which Srila Prabhupada spoke, in which Srila Prabhupada writes why he started this International Society for Krishna Consciousness, and that is from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 25, verse number 24. And I think I can do, I have share screen. So I can go ahead and maybe, or Bhagwan Narada Prabhu, how can I do screen share?
I don't know on your end. I can pull up a verse if you need and then just share it if that's okay with you.
Yes, please. It's 3:25:24.
3:25:24. Okay. Oh, my mother, virtuous lady.
Yes, that's the one. This is where the Devahuti was asked her son Kapil Muni to enlighten her. There, Kapila Muni is giving her this important knowledge. Okay, so it goes like this. Om Agyanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Swayam Rupa Yam Dadati Swapadantikam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam 3:24. Ta ete sadhava sadhi sarva sangha vivarjitaha sangasteshvata te prarthya sangadosha rahite. O my mother, O virtuous lady, these are the qualities of great devotees who are free from all attachment. You must seek attachment to such holy men, for this counteracts the pernicious effects of material attachment. And the purport, Kapil Muni herein advises his mother Devahuti that if she wants to be free from material attachment, she should increase her attachment for the sadhus or devotees who are completely freed from all material attachment. In Bhagavad Gita, 15th chapter, verse 5, it is stated, who is qualified to enter into the kingdom of God? It is said there, Nirmana Moha Jita Sangha Doshaha. This refers to one who is completely freed from the puffed up condition of material possessiveness. A person may be materially very rich, opulent, or respectable, but if he at all wants to transfer himself to the spiritual kingdom, back home, back to Godhead, then he has to be freed from the puffed up condition of material possessiveness, because that is a false position. The word moha used here means the false understanding that one is rich or poor. In this material world, the conception that one is very rich or very poor, or any such consciousness in connection with material existence, is false, because this body itself is false or temporary. A pure soul who is prepared to be free from material entanglement must first of all be free from the association of the three modes of nature. Our consciousness at the present moment is polluted because of association with the three modes of nature. Therefore, In Bhagavad Gita, the same principle is stated. It is advised, Jita Sangha Doshaha. One should be freed from the contaminated association of the three modes of material nature. Here also in the Srimad Bhagavatam, this is confirmed. A pure devotee who is preparing to transfer himself to the spiritual kingdom is also freed from the association of the three modes of material nature. We have to seek the association of such devotees. For this reason, we have begun the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. There are many mercantile, scientific, and other associations in human society to develop a particular type of education or consciousness. But there is no association that helps one to get free from all material association. If anyone has reached the stage where he must become free from this material contamination, then he has to seek association of devotees, wherein Krishna consciousness is exclusively cultured. One can thereby become freed from all material association. Because a devotee is free from all contaminated material association, he is not affected by the miseries of material existence. Even though he appears to be in the material world, he is not affected by the miseries of the material world. How is it possible? There is a very good example in the activities of the cat. The cat carries her kittens in her mouth, and when she kills a rat, she also carries the booty in her mouth. Thus, both are carried in the mouth of the cat, but they are in different conditions. The kitten feels comfort in the mouth of the mother, whereas when the rat is carried in the mouth of the cat, the rat feels the blows of death. Similarly, those who are sadhava or devotees engaged in Krishna consciousness in the transcendental service of the Lord do not feel the contamination of material miseries, whereas those who are not devotees in Krishna consciousness actually feel the misery of material existence. One should, therefore, give up the association of materialistic persons and seek the association of persons engaged in Krishna consciousness. And by such association, he will benefit in spiritual advancement. By their words and instructions, he will be able to cut off his attachment to material existence. So we can see over here that Srila Prabhupada is making it very clear. You want to become Krishna conscious? Be with Krishna conscious devotees. You want to learn how to practice this art and science of Krishna consciousness? Associate with devotees. You want to get free of the material miseries? Follow the instructions of the pure devotees. So everything comes from our association. It is very, very difficult, especially in this age of Kali, to practice solitary bhajan, to say, oh, I don't want to do anything with this group of, people have all sorts of names for us, fanatics and this thing and that thing. I will do my own thing. I believe Prabhupada. I believe in the books. I will read my books. I will do my bhajan all by myself. I will do everything. I don't want to associate with devotees. Guess what? It is very easy for the mind to get off onto the wrong track. If we get away from the association of devotees, it becomes very difficult to practice Krishna consciousness because Maya is out there waiting, just like a wolf waits for the lone lamb, to stray away from the herd and then pounces on it. We will be putting ourselves in a very precarious condition if we think we can do without the association of devotees. Because in the association of devotees, we will be learning so much. We will be correcting ourselves. We will be learning the art and the science of Krishna consciousness. And we will also be clarifying so many doubts through the Srimad Bhagavatam classes, lectures, when doing service. So many things become very, very clear to us. For example, a very elevated person, materialistically very elevated, a big professor, something like that, he came with a whole list of doubts and questions and everything to His Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj. He said, I have all these questions and doubts, and And Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj said, okay, that's fine. You just go and you do some service with these devotees and we'll see later on. After several hours after that service was done, this professor came back and then Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj said, so you have any question? And he said, I have no questions. All my doubts got answered. So we can understand that we will be learning so much when we associate with devotees. We will understand so much of the philosophy and we'll be able to make nice progress actually in Krishna consciousness simply by associating with good devotees. Now that's where the rub lies. Who are these good devotees? Who are the people we really need to associate with? Those who are very sincerely following process of Krishna consciousness. And I would like Bhagwan Narada to take us to the very next verse, please. The same thing, just the next verse. Yeah. Because here, very quickly, we will be able to understand by associating with whom? The pure devotees. I'm just going to go straight into the translation and important points in the purport. So the translation is, in the association of pure devotees, discussion of the pastimes and activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is very pleasing and satisfying to the ear and to the heart. By cultivating such knowledge, one gradually becomes advanced on the path of liberation, and thereafter he is freed and his attraction becomes fixed. Then real devotion and devotional service begin. So here very clearly Srila Prabhupada is explaining purport. The process of advancing in Krishna consciousness and devotional service is described here. The first point is that one must seek the association of persons who are Krishna conscious and who engage in devotional service. Without such association, one cannot make advancement. Simply by theoretical knowledge or study, one cannot make any appreciable advancement. One must give up the association of materialistic persons and seek the association of devotees, because without the association of devotees, one cannot understand the activities of the Lord. Now I'm going to skip to a little below that. Service or devotion cannot be offered to anything impersonal. Service must be offered to a person. Non-devotees cannot appreciate Krishna consciousness by reading Srimad Bhagavatam or other Vedic literature wherein the activities of the Lord are described. They think these activities are fictional, manufactured stories because spiritual life is not explained to them in the proper mood. To understand the personal activities of the Lord, one has to seek the association of devotees. And by such association, when one contemplates and tries to understand the transcendental activities of the Lord, the path to liberation is open and he is free. So here we can see how Srila Prabhupada is making it crystal clear that it is in the association of devotees that we can hope to make nice progress. Srila Prabhupada would say, if you want to learn to be a drunkard, this is very famous, he says, associate with drunkards. If you want to learn how to be a devotee, associate with devotees. And this is a very rare gift that we have been given. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said, Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagyavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Beej. After many, many, many lifetimes of wandering up and down in the cycle of birth and death through so many planetary systems, through so many bodies, finally one gets the mercy, the supreme good fortune of receiving the seed of devotional service called the Bhakti Lata Beej, and it is sown in our hearts. How rare is that opportunity? Srila Prabhupada says, our soul has traversed through 8,400,000 species of life before coming to the human form of life. And in that human form of life, there are again 400,000 varieties. And in so many times we have cycled through all these various, species, bodies and everything. In this lifetime, we have received, or maybe previous lifetime, some of you have already, shown to me. At least I can see several of you have very many good qualities and so you have connection from previous lifetimes with this movement. So you have received the seed of devotional service, and slowly, slowly, by watering the seed, by carefully nurturing the seed, a Bhakti Lata Beej starts growing more and more and more. But this is a very rare chance, very, very rare gift. It's a matchless gift, as Srila Prabhupada said. And now our duty is to nurture this creeper very nicely. Just as a gardener very carefully watches that seed which he has planted in the ground, waters it, gives it enough, sunlight, carefully pulls out the weeds to make sure the creeper is growing nicely, doesn't allow all kinds of filth and mud and muck and fallen leaves to gather around it, make sure it's growing nicely. We too have a duty now to nurture that seed very nicely so that it grows into a very nice strong creeper that will eventually rest at the lotus feet of the Lord and produce beautiful fruits, flowers that can be distributed to everyone. How will that happen? When we become fixed in our Krishna consciousness, we can start helping others become more and more Krishna conscious. So we have a very important responsibility. Not only do we have to grow in our own Krishna consciousness, but we have to also give this to others and spread this knowledge in order to save the world. I think all of us now in America, we are just watching with horror how the things are going from bad to worse. That murder of that poor black gentleman in Minneapolis has triggered practically half the country is engulfed in civil war almost, with so much looting and mayhem on the streets and rioting, and reminiscent of something that I heard when I was in India. There was a gentleman named Rodney King who was similarly murdered, and the whole the whole country practically was engulfed in this conflagration of anger and hatred and revenge, practically speaking. So we are living in very tough times, very, very difficult times. I am black, you are white, she is brown, that one is American, so and so is, why have these colored people come to my country? This is America, it's meant. But you know what? America was begun by immigrants. Immigrants came, I mean, and they actually displaced the Native Americans. That's a whole nother story. But so who is a real American? Who is a false American? Who is a real Indian? How many times have we changed these bodies? How many places have we gone in this universe? So all these are very meaningless and superficial things. And until we come to Krishna consciousness, we continue to fight on all these grounds. I can remember my pre-Krishna conscious days and how crazy I was. I'm so thankful to Srila Prabhupada for giving us the absolute truth, which is you are not this body. You're eternal spirit soul, full of knowledge, full of bliss, full of joy. That's who you really are. And just imagine to be freed from all those misconceptions simply by hearing this. It's so liberating. It's so freeing. So we want more and more to be cultivating our Bhakti Lata Bij nicely in the association of devotees. We want to get more and more purified in the association of devotees. Now, many times we may not have a good time with devotees. I have personally experienced this. Many times we might find devotees becoming very rude or arrogant or humiliating or putting us down, just making our lives just miserable in so many ways. And, we just start thinking, my gosh, where have I come? This is supposed to be a place where I'm cultivating spiritual knowledge, but how are these people behaving? How are these people interacting? I don't know that I want to be in this association. And we can feel that we want to pull away from that association. So we have to be very discriminatory. We have to take association of those people who are fixed in Krishna consciousness, who are sadhus, who are gentle, who are peaceful, who are moderate in their reactions, who have understood that this is this real way to go back home, and who are sincerely applying the philosophy to their own lives so that they are more and more in the mode of goodness. And we can take inspiration from such people instead of getting entangled and distracted and basically, entering into unhealthy relationships, which are not good for us. We may have to move away from toxic relationships just to protect our own selves. And this is also sanctioned in the Shastra, that one must not associate with fallen people. So association has to be very carefully evaluated, examined. We have to use our discriminatory powers, and we have to see what are the qualities of this devotee, what are their gifts, how will they help me in my Krishna consciousness. So we look up to our mentors, we look up to our seniors, we look up to them, and from them we learn how to handle difficult situations, how to handle difficult people, how to deal with the challenges that come by way of simply living in this material world. So this is the beauty and the gift of Krishna consciousness. And I have some more slides that I want to show. Let me just go to those slides and see which ones I want to pull up. And that is Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela. I want to go to verse chapter 22, verses 54. If Bhagavad Narada Prabhu, you can just pull that up for us. Yeah, there we go. It's a very famous verse. I'm sure many of you have seen it. Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastre Koi, Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi Hoy. The verdict of all revealed scriptures is that by even a moment's association with a pure devotee, one can attain all success. And there's a very short purport that lava is 1/11th of a second. That means so little association with a pure devotee, we can attain all success. So how blessed we are, how very fortunate we are that we have so many wonderful Vaishnav gurus in our movement who are not giving just 1/11, they're pouring out the nectar. You know, when I think of all the wonderful classes that I've attended from so many wonderful Vaishnavs during this COVID crisis, I say, oh my Krishna, I am so blessed. This COVID has actually become a blessing for me, because now I'm hearing classes by elevated devotees who are in different parts of the world, who I may have never met in the ordinary course of events. I'm hearing from Vaishnavas, gurus from different, parts of the world. And probably I would not have met them or seen them as often as I do now, because I'm connected via Zoom. So how much we can feel grateful to Krishna that he is going all out to give us the very best of association, to help us advance in our Krishna consciousness, to learn from these great devotees how they handle tricky situations, how humble they are, how tolerant they are, how peaceful they are, and how very Krishna conscious they are. So this is our challenge, how to become more and more Krishna conscious. And then we will start appreciating what Srila Prabhupada has given us. We will start understanding the value of the association of devotees, and we will want more and more nectar by associating with sadhus. That means truly saintly persons who can give us Krishna. Because those who have Krishna, they can give us Krishna. So we want to be in inspiring association. We want to be in association that enhances our practice and our application and our understanding of Krishna consciousness. So I hope that the importance of association has come across to you at least a little bit. And I will end with one very quote. Srila Prabhupada said, in spiritual life, three things are very important in this order: association, association, association. So Srila Prabhupada makes it absolutely clear that there is great importance of associating with good and saintly and noble charactered Vaishnavas, which is, what we have in our Krishna conscious movement. That's why Srila Prabhupada gave us this Krishna consciousness movement, the ISKCON, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, simply to bring us together, to enliven us, enthuse us, encourage us in our Krishna consciousness. So that's my little take on this topic. I humbly offer my obeisances to all the Vaishnavas, and we can open it up for questions. or comments?
I had something I wanted to add that's in the same canto, 3:24:18. It's a nice verse.
Okay.
The renunciation of Kardama Muni.
Mhm.
So, as we know that pastime, Lord Kapila is coming, and still Kardama Muni renounces, and he goes about his duty, and he has Krishna right in front of him, but still he decides to renounce. So, in this purport, I wanted to speak a little bit with what's happening, and that's relevant. In San Antonio, they had a bit of a protest yesterday, and it started out peaceful, and then once the protest was over, some people stuck around, and then they started looting and throwing chairs into windows and stealing out of jewelry shops and everything like that. And it started really making me kind of realize how grateful I am to have this kind of practice, or to have this sort of faith. So with that being said, I wanted to tie it in with something that was relevant with what you were discussing. So this is just
Mhm.
a few verses earlier. So um, here we have the word avidya. It's very
Mhm.
significant. Avidya means forgetfulness of one's identity, as you were alluding to earlier with the three modes of material nature. Every one of us is a spirit soul, but we have forgotten. We think, I am this body. This is called avidya. Samsaya granti means doubtfulness. This doubtfulness. The knot of doubtfulness is tied when the soul identifies with the material world. That knot is called ahankara, the junction of matter and spirit. So I'll just continue on. By proper knowledge received from the scriptures in disciplic succession, and by proper application of that knowledge, one can free himself from this binding combination of matter and spirit. So I just wanted to kind of talk a little bit about that, in the sense that because we have some degree of knowledge that we can comprehend, we don't have so much of a doubt, rather an understanding as to how the material world is. And we understand that there's always going to be injustice, there's always going to be suffering. And so therefore we focus on energy in giving to others, and that we feel indebted to the spiritual master, we feel indebted to those previous teachers, rather than to focus that energy on some sort of manufactured justice in one sense. Because today it could be black, white, brown. Tomorrow it could be the French. Thousands or hundreds of years ago, it could have been the natives, or whatever it may be. It's always changing, and it's always perpetuating. So therefore, we're being given a chance to stay steady in Krishna consciousness. So it saves us a lot of time and energy, and it's actually protecting us, and we're getting plucked up out of this ocean of just suffering and confusion and bewilderment, and we're taking shelter of something that's permanent. So I really like the points that you made, and I was just looking through my notes on this chapter, and I found it relevant.
Mhm.
So I don't know if
Wow.
you'd like to add anything as well, just a comment.
Yeah, I think that, exactly, what you said, because here also today, I'm part of the Interfaith Steering Committee on Climate Coalition over here as the Hare Krishna representative. And, we have a E group in which, people give their comments and everything. And today they were saying, oh, there's a peace meeting. Everybody will be kneeling for 30 minutes and praying, silent prayer for peace to be restored, for justice to be, had, and all that, because of this murder of this black man. And it's going to be a peaceful thing at the end. Somebody is going to sing Amazing Grace, and every one of us is invited. And I was thinking to myself, I wonder, maybe I should go. And then I said no. And now you're just confirming it that Bhagwan Narada, we are not able to see you because there's the Krishna Temple SATX, that logo is coming in the way.
I don't know.
Oh, okay, there we go. Yes, now we can see you. So, where was I? Yeah, very, very likely that this will become violent because people are so angry right now. It might start off peaceful, but then it might become very angry. And then the comments that I'm seeing from the Baha'is and the Muslims and the other Christians on the group, they have no clue. They have no clue. And we have it. We understand very clearly we are not this body, we are spirit, soul. how freeing, how liberating, and how blessed we are to have this knowledge. Now, they are not going to get it. I have to spoon feed it, watch very carefully, or not even spoon feeding, maybe with a dropper, just give a little bit at a time, because they're meat eaters, they're too dull headed, they don't get the simplest of things. And I have to really handle them with kid gloves. I can speak freely with devotees, but not with them. So I can see how much we have received the blessings of the spiritual master by being given this devotional creeper, this seed of devotional service. How blessed we are to receive this knowledge. And it's a very precious and rare gift that we have been given. So, very good point that you made. Would anyone else like to contribute, say something about what your thoughts are on association of devotees? What have you gained from the association of devotees? What challenges you've had in the association of devotees? Anything, feel free.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Hare Krishna everyone. This is Harita.
Hare Krishna, Harita. Thank you for coming on.
Well, I always felt confident when I'm in association. There might be some high-low situations due to some family problems that since we live far away from India, so sometimes we miss them. But when I'm in association, I forget all those things. And when we are talking so much of knowledge, and so this is actual knowledge actually. So when we are listening to this, then whatever might be happening in our life, that counts nothing.
Yes.
And this is what I feel when we are in association, and
Exactly.
it brings lot of peace of mind, and
Mhm.
clarifies lot of doubts, and makes us calm.
Haribol! Well said, Harita. Beautiful. I'm so glad that you're feeling so much protection in the association of devotees. This is what is actually needed, and it's wonderful that you're feeling like that. I'm happy that the San Antonio leaders are doing a good job of taking care of you. Haribol.
It seems we have Shashi Babu here. Shashi always has really nice questions. Shashi, do you have any questions? He joined us a little late, but he's always got some really nice comments.
Oh, okay. Hare Krishna. Shashidhar.
Hey, Hare Krishna, Mataji. Yeah, Hare Krishna all. Yeah. Could you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah. So actually, I have a question. Like, I joined a little bit late. I just want like little bit knowledge on this association, like association of devotees and association towards God. I couldn't catch up, so I just want a little bit brief on it.
Oh, okay. You want a brief recap? Well, we
Yep.
spoke about how Srila Prabhupada started the International Society of Krishna Consciousness just for all of us to come together and learn how to be devotees, learn how to serve the Lord, learn how to serve each other, learn from each other. That's why he began this International Society of Krishna Consciousness. And we looked at the verse from Canto 3, chapter 20, verse number 24 and 25. I'm just giving you that reference so you can actually, read through it at your leisure. But we spoke about how Srila Prabhupada gave us this International Society of Krishna Consciousness for this reason. And he emphasizes how important it is to associate with devotees, because in this association, we can speak about Krishna, discuss Krishna Katha, worship Krishna. Most important, we can sing the holy names together, Harinam Sankirtan, which is the Yuga Dharma for this age of Kali, which purifies everyone, not just us, but all living entities everywhere. And the sound goes 7 times around the globe. Basically, it is purifying the whole earth as we are singing. So it's in the association of devotees we actually get strength, we get courage, we get peace of mind. Harita said it beautifully. I'm just going to repeat what she said. She said, it counts for nothing, whatever other things are going on. When you come in the association of devotees, you just become very peaceful. You feel courage and you feel, okay, all that stuff which is going on, it's not very important because here I am in the internal energy of the Lord. This is actually the Ladini Shakti of the Lord, and it helps us to stay protected from the material energy, from the material ups and downs. So coming together, discussing Krishna Katha is very powerful. It protects us from the material energy and it shows us it's not so important. We feel encouraged, we feel peace of mind in our hearts, we get our doubts clarified, and importantly, we get strength from each other. So that's just a very brief recap. If anybody else would like to just add to that, so Shashidhar can just get a full picture. Have I missed out something? Please feel free to jump in and add the points we spoke of.
I mean, I think I have something that I have a question. So we speak about association, and immediately my mind goes to people and persons. Now, what about association with certain activities or certain situations? Can you elaborate maybe more on that? More of the subtle elements of association, what we're intaking, what we're putting in, and what's coming out.
Association with whom?
Different situations or different subtle aspects of association rather than just living entities or persons.
Yeah, association doesn't mean, just sitting together in the same room next to each other. Of course, that could be the case when we're all sitting together for class, but how we associate is also important. There are 3 levels of association. We offer respect to seniors, we offer service to seniors, we make friendships with devotees who are our peers, who are, our God brothers and God sisters, and we offer compassion and mercy to those who are just coming into the movement, who are just very new, who are just, like babies, they're just learning to, walk, practically speaking. So there are different levels of association, and we are best rewarded when we have all 3 of them. That means we are able to give whatever knowledge we have to the newcomers. We have good friendships that sustain us. Only a God sister or God brother or someone who really cares about you can just say, hey, you're really going off too much on that track. You need to watch what you're saying to this devotee, or, you seem to be losing your temper too much these days. Are you getting very stressed? What's happening? It's only our people who genuinely care about us will point out those things and who will bring it to our knowledge that something is not okay. This is very important for our spiritual life, because otherwise you can go off track. Just like King Bharat. He was a king who gave up everything, but he came back in the body of a deer. He didn't have association. If he had God brothers and God sisters, they would be like, hey, Bharat, you're spending too much time with that little fawn. You're forgetting your spiritual practices. You're forgetting your daily japa. You're just watching that baby deer and feeding it grass and taking it with you wherever you go and playing with it. He even would sleep with it on its chest. He used to carry it on his shoulders. He used to speak sweetly. And if the little baby deer was out of sight for some time, he would get restless. He would be like, where's that deer? Where's it? He forgot his spiritual practices because he got absorbed in thinking of that little baby deer who had become so dependent on him. This is how Maya can trick us. Very easy for our mind to go like that. So it's in the association of devotees, we will be protected. We will have that, somebody looking out for you. We need that. Just as I said very early in my lecture, how does a wolf prey on a pack of sheep? He's hiding there in the grass and he's watching the whole flock, which lamb is eating grass, which lamb is looking around, which lamb is like so distracted that he's not sticking to the herd. And very quickly he goes and he pounces on that lamb and finish. That's the end of that lamb. So we are protected when we stay in the association of devotees. When we stray away from that, we have a lot of challenges and difficulties because the mind will just take us away. Is that what you were heading for?
Yeah, in one sense. I mean, we have a deer. What to speak now? People with their cell phones, right? But I was
I was just thinking about me. I'm like that too. I'm so attached to
oh,
my.
I am too. I am too. I was just thinking more in terms of like subtle aspects, like the modes of material nature, associating with different modes rather than a person. You know, I mean, that's kind of what I was getting at too. How we
Oh,
associate
okay.
different
Well,
situations.
yes, very important to watch how we are spending our time and energy, what modes in which we are spending our time and energy, regulating our lifestyle so it's balanced. In in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says in chapter 6, Dhyana Yoga chapter verse 17, I believe, that one who is moderated in his habits of eating, sleeping, work, and recreation has no material miseries. So we want to not be too much in the mode of ignorance by overeating. And actually, overeating is the worst of the things that we can do, because overeating leads to all the other bad habits. You know, Srila Prabhupada said this. So we want to carefully avoid activities that will drag us down in the mode of ignorance. You know, you may be just coming to Krishna consciousness and your friend will say, just take a little sip of wine, you know, come on now. You've had beers together before. Be a good pal. Why are you such a, party pooper or something? And very easily we can get carried away into having that sip of wine. And before you know it, who knows where that can take you? Drunken driving, an accident, car crash, illicit sex, drugs. It can just, like a boat is swept away in the current when it has no moorings, when it is not tied down properly, it can just get swept away. Immediately we can be swept away. So we want to be very careful in not associating with the modes of ignorance or passion, and striving for the mode of goodness, because only from the mode of goodness we can actually understand what is devotional life, what is devotional service, and then we can move to the mode of transcendence. It's not possible otherwise. And only by the instructions of the pure devotee we can get more and more disentangled from, yes, Shashidhar, you're right, we can get more and more disentangled from the lower modes that we were in. You know, many of us have so many bad habits that go back millions of lifetimes. I was just thinking to myself the other day, I have to really pray to Krishna to remove this critical attitude that I have in my head when somebody does something that I don't like, or they don't behave in the way I think proper. Immediately my mind starts, and I was thinking to myself, oh my gosh, with this attitude, I'm not going to go back to Godhead. I'm going to be like back again over here, because Lord Chaitanya doesn't like this mood. And in fact, he says, I give my full mercy to one who completely gives up criticism of Vaishnavas. And I certainly am not there yet. So it's definitely an anartha I need to work on. The mode of passion is another one. We can get carried away. This is another something we have to be very careful about. Oh, you're doing so many nice seminars, Mataji. Can you just do one more? Can you just do one more? Can you? I remember once when I was in India in Pune, I think they asked me to do 3 seminars in a day. And I said to myself, I will not be doing a good quality job if I agree to this. I said, at the most, I will do 2. I will not do 3 seminars, because one, you have to lift your consciousness much higher, because now you're speaking to a group of people trying to uplift their consciousness. So I need to have strong sadhana in the morning, and I need to have my morning program nicely so that I can, do the best possible quality of service. And so I absolutely refused. I said, sorry, I can only do 2, one in the morning, one in the evening. If I had got carried away, like, oh, there's Sri Devi Mataji, she's the one who's giving seminars in America, now she's come to India, and now I would have compromised the quality of my seva if I had given into that. It would be so easy for me to say, yeah, now I can tell everybody I did 3 seminars in Pune, NBCC. But if I had given into that temptation, one, that would be mode of passion. Automatically, the quality of my seva would have come down. Later on, I would have felt really sad and really bad. Why did I do that? Why did I compromise the quality of my seva? Just to show off? That's such a cheap thing. In fact, it's the worst possible thing. Pratishtha is the worst thing that we can hanker for in spiritual life, because that's compared to pig's stool. So one must really be careful to avoid these kind of traps. in our devotional seva so that we can keep the quality of our service very high, not in the mode of ignorance, not in the mode of passion, but always striving for the mode of goodness. Is that helpful, Bhagwan Narada Prabhu?
Yeah, that sounds great. Thank you so much. I like those points.
Okay. And Shekar made a comment in the chat box. It's so we can easily get attracted towards negative and rather than the positive. Yes, because you see, we have spent so many lifetimes, millions of lifetimes attracted to the material energy. Now we are having a hard time tearing ourselves away from that and trying to come to Krishna, which is actually our natural state. This is actually unnatural. But as Srila Prabhupada says, tongue is so diseased with the avidya, with ignorance, like a jaundiced person. You give him sugar candy and he just like that, isn't it? But the cure for jaundice is sugar candy. So you take more, and finally the jaundice gets cured, and you start tasting the sweetness of the sugar candy. Similarly, with devotional service with Bhakti Yoga, initially it's like poison, but in the end it becomes nectar. Srila Prabhupada says this. So it may be difficult initially, but in the end it gets sweeter and sweeter and sweeter, and we begin to start understanding the value of this process of Bhakti Yoga simply by engaging it nicely and getting a higher taste. Param drishtva nivartante. We get a higher taste by moving from the lower taste to a higher taste. We actually get benefited. Our health improves, our weight improves, our capacity to work improves, our clarity, mental acuity, everything becomes sharp and clear because now your brain is getting, prasadam, and instead of all the abominable things we were eating before, all these things start happening. And Srila Prabhupada says, in the body of the devotee, the qualities of the demigods begins to manifest simply by engaging in this process of devotional service. So there's everything to gain. Keep going, spirit soul. You have nothing to lose but all your material attachments, your material body, and you're going to gain your spiritual body. What can be better than that? Isn't it? What do you think, Shashidhar?
Yes, Mata, you're right. So I usually I get attracted towards negative sometime. So I just search for a pic of Lord in my mobile and just try to chant some slokas and then try to avoid negativity. That's what
Yes.
I'm doing sometimes.
Yes, very true. It's a very hard. Initially, in the beginning, it is definitely a big challenge. So it's really nice that you're, turning to the Lord, praying to the Lord, taking a picture finding a picture on your mobile and chanting the best mantra to chant is the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And another thing that will be helpful to you, Shashidhar, is if you are able to get a set of beads and start chanting on the beads first thing in the morning, even if you chant, say, 1 round or 2 rounds, that's going to go a long way towards helping you to keep the negative forces at bay. Do you have a set of beads to chant on?
Yeah, I have actually. When I came first time to the San Antonio Krishna Temple, I met Narga, so he gave me the beats. So I have the beats. So presently, but I tried once, but like I'll start it again. So
Okay. Well, I think you must be also knowing that you chant the Panchatattva mantra before you chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. That is very powerful because the Panchatattva is so merciful. So merciful. Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda have come simply to deliver the fallen souls in this age of Kali. And they are so merciful. So when you chant their mantra, they give you special protection and they don't accept any offenses such as distraction, improper chanting, improper pronunciation, because we all make mistakes, you know. So just saying Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Yeah, there Bhagwan Narada has put it over there. Just if you chant this and then start chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, you'll find it to be very beneficial. And in fact, Srila Prabhupada says it's like having, you know, putting on your armor. It's like putting on the raincoat, you know, so that when you go out, you don't get wet. So starting the day with the Maha Mantra will be very powerful by giving you a protective armor. So then when you go out to face the world, the negativity will not be able to catch you so easily because you have developed, put on your raincoat, so to speak.
Yeah, well said. Sure, I'll follow it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Would anybody else like to say something? Jennifer, Jayashri Brinda, or Lee, Naradi?
Hello.
Haribol.
Hare Krishna, can you hear me?
Yes.
One of the things that you said earlier was really interesting to me. And you were mentioning about the seminars. And I thought that, you know, when you first come into Krishna consciousness, many times you're fighting the mode of passion through a lot of other things. And it's not through service, you know, but even in service, you have to kind of find that balance. And I thought that was really fascinating.
Mm-hmm. Very true. Very true. We have to be very careful to get carried away. You may be able to do it, but then what will happen if you actually, you know, just barrel through and do it? Chances are you will be doing it because it's in the mode of passion. You'll be distracted. You may make mistakes. It might even turn the situation dangerous because, you know, when you drive fast or you do something fast, chances are you make mistake. And worst thing, something bad could really happen that could endanger your life or limb by working in the mode of passion. And you don't want that to happen. You don't want to lose your life, you know. Devotees have lost their lives driving fast, doing crazy things, over, you know, overspending or overdoing something. It's not advisable at all to work in that mode of passion because you can make serious mistakes.
Right. And when you put the service first, that's when you really become kind of like Krishna conscious. You're saying, okay, this is for Krishna. It's not just what I'm feeling specifically or what I feel I can do or not do. That's when it comes in. Sometimes you think like, oh, well, I'm doing service, so it's in line, but it's not. Those modes can also creep in, which is
Well said, well said. And actually, there's a way to do that service also. Srila Prabhupada said, health first, then sadhana, then service, and then reading in that order. He made that very clear. It's there on the memory state. Kusha Mataji, if you Google, you know, on YouTube, everything is there, the memories. She speaks about how Srila Prabhupada gave this instruction. He said, health first, then sadhana, then service, in this order. Why? Because if we don't take care of our health, we won't be able to do service for very long. Our bodies will start complaining. After some time, we will have, you know, bad knee, bad back, bad this, bad that. So we have to take good care of our health. That is paramount. In fact, Srila Prabhupada would sign off every letter by saying, hoping this meets you in the best of health. Your ever well-wisher, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Why would he say that? He was very particular, even when somebody wrote to him and saying, you know, I've fallen sick or I have a toothache. Srila Prabhupada would give detailed instructions how to take the medicine, what to put on it, how to change your diet, and how much rest to take. Everything was very clearly specified so that the devotee could come back to good health. So health is very important at all levels: physical health, mental health, emotional health, relationship health, financial health, social health, you know, all these facets of our health have to be in line. If you're not dealing with some issues, maybe I'm overspending. It may seem overspending, but maybe I'm dealing with some stress inside of me, which makes me overspend or overeat or do anything in excess. And that is mental and emotional health right there. So we need to look at ourselves to see how is my health in all these different areas of my life. And of course, the most important is spiritual health. Next, sadhana. Keep your sadhana strong. I cannot tell you how important this is for our spiritual life. If we slip up and start compromising on our sadhana, it's going to affect all the other areas of our life. Chant nice rounds early in the morning. This is going to be the foundation for our spiritual life. Not for nothing did Srila Prabhupada said everyone should rise early, attend Mangalarti, chant in the early morning Brahma Muhurta hours, offer their food to Krishna, chant in front of the deity form of the Lord. And of course, the temple routine is different from the home routine. Nobody is saying that you should not modify it. People who have children, people who have other commitments, maybe you will rise at 5 o'clock. But whatever it is, spend at least 1 hour, half an hour, whatever time you can to commune with the Lord, to communicate with Krishna, to convince Krishna, I want you, Krishna. If you put everything else first, then Krishna says, okay, you can have all those other things, but you won't have me. And we don't want that to happen. So we want to convince Krishna, you come first. So the first part of the day we spend with Krishna. That gives us a very strong foundation to begin, to deal with all the other things that come. Actually, my Guru Maharaj recommends, he says, if you can chant your 16 rounds first thing in the morning, before you do anything else, it will change the whole quality of your day. It will change the whole quality of your day. That's how important those 16 rounds are. Of course, ladies, we may have small children, we may have other commitments, people, have to go to office, whatever it is. But at least if you can chant the bulk of your rounds, maybe out of 16, if you can chant 8 or 10 or something like that, and then that way you just have fewer rounds to do during the rest of the day, that is also, very beneficial. I started with 2 rounds, then 4, and then 8. And then I was stuck at 8 for a long time. I was doing my PhD, I was working 2 jobs, and I was thinking, this is impossible. I cannot do 16 rounds. And then one God sister came and said, you can do it. And that somehow empowered me. And I began finding ways to find time to do it in such a way that I got, my 16. Of course, I can honestly say my 16 rounds were not done first thing in the morning. They were spread throughout the day. But that also Srila Prabhupada says, as a Grihastha, he chanted 4 rounds in the morning, 4 rounds in the afternoon, 4 rounds in the evening, and 4 rounds before retiring for bed. Like that, he distributed it throughout the day. So sometimes we may have to do like that. But whatever it is, we must try to stick to whatever vow we have taken, and we have to make that a very serious time of really being with Krishna and not having any distractions. Just me and Krishna, not the washing machine, not the dishwasher. Finish up, turn off your cell phone and just focus on Krishna. Even if it's a short time, let it be quality time. That is sadhana. Service. Let us try to find something that is meaningful for us, that involves our talents and skills, and we can offer to Krishna because it has come from Krishna. If you can, write nicely, write something for Krishna. If you can paint nicely for Krishna. So like this, we can all do some little seva for Krishna, but make that something that happens on a regular basis. Maybe we start once a week, Sunday, going to the temple, and then it progresses like that more and more. But that's how we all begin small. We all began like that. And then reading. Make time for reading a little bit, even if it's 1 shloka, 2 shlokas. At one point in my life, the only reading I was doing was maybe 1 shloka a day. But that has now progressed to a little better. So we can all start small and then we can progress accordingly. Is that okay, Naradi?
Yes, that was very nice. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Anybody else would like to say something? Shashidhar?
So I have a question actually. One, you were talking about the spiritual health, right? Like we need to maintain all, physical, mental, financial, and all. But without any of that problem, we can't I mean survive in the life, right? There will be something else. If one is good, one will be less, one will be more, so we are trying to still attain to reach that goal, right? So having everything in everything in life is a little bit difficult, right?
Yeah, we may not be able to exactly have everything in place, and it's not essential also. The main thing is to focus on our spiritual life, because spiritual life means everything else will somehow or the other either fall into place, or it will not be so much of an obstruction. So you're right, this material energy is always going to give us trouble in some way or the other. We cannot expect to have everything perfect. Absolutely correct. But to the extent that is possible from our side, we should try to attain good health, simply so that it doesn't become a disturbance for our spiritual life. It doesn't become a disturbance. Like, for example, we all know that we have to take care of our health. If we don't eat healthy, we don't exercise, we don't, spend enough time in recreation or in sleep, our body is going to suffer, isn't it? But supposing my
Yes,
karma is to have some kind of, physical illness or something, I will not be able to avoid it. Maybe I'm supposed to have some joint problems. I will try everything to keep my health good, but the joint problem will be there. But at least from my side, I have tried everything to maintain good health, and then maybe the knee pain will be little less problematic because all the other things are in place, and with a little medicine or something, I may be able to tolerate it much more than if I had neglected my health, just not eaten properly or something, whatever it is. I mean, same thing with financial health. I have credit card bills, I'm racking up, expenses, I'm not watching how much I'm spending, I'm just spending, without thinking. What happens? I get into credit card debt, isn't it?
yes, yes, you're right.
So yeah, so from the whatever extent we can manage it, we should try to live very consciously, and we should try to see how much of my time, energy is going into all these things, and we should try to have a regulated lifestyle. Srila Prabhupada said disease comes due to three things: uncleanliness, anxiety, and overeating. So we want to keep everything very clean and neat. Why? Because then no germs. Anxiety, mental illness. The anxiety today is so profound. It's causing so much problems. And the mental illness starts causing physical illness, because the mind plays such a big role in our health, that when we are mentally disturbed and anxious and worried and fearful and having panic attacks and this and that, slowly affects the body, because you either start overeating or undereating, and then your body starts getting affected. When you're not in proper physical health, your immunity comes down, and then you fall sick. So we want to take good care of our health, just so that we can do our seva nicely, we can carry out our activities nicely, we can interact with others in a nice way. If you're constantly in pain, having difficulties, very hard to be in good consciousness also. So from the extent possible, we can try. The rest, of course, is in Krishna's hands.
Yes, yeah, yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you
You're
very much.
welcome. I say all this because I'm a mental health therapist, you see. So, I personally have to work very hard on myself, because if I am not very healthy, I'm not able to do a good job to help others. So I have no choice. Krishna has made it like that.
I have a
Yeah, I have seen that you're a doctor, right?
Yes, I'm a doctor.
Yeah, that's great. You stay in San Antonio or uh,
No, I live in New Orleans, Louisiana, but I visit San Antonio pretty often. That congregation, all of you are very dear to me. Bhagwan Narayana
wow.
and Naradi are my spiritual son and daughter.
Oh, wow. Nice, nice having this virtual meetings. Though we can't meet in personal in the temple, but still we can do speak online and get some reflections.
Yes, and I think it is very important for me now as a mother to take care of all of you and to do my best to help you all in your Krishna consciousness, because That is the duty of people who have grown older and who have maybe some life experiences, some knowledge. It is our duty. In fact, right now, Jai Shri Brinda, she's another spiritual daughter of mine who is joining us from North Carolina. I've known her now for about 15 years, maybe. Jai Shri Brinda, how long back do I know you? 12 years, maybe. I don't know exactly when. But I have watched her grow in Krishna consciousness, and it's very rewarding to see how nicely she has taken the process of Krishna consciousness seriously, even though there were a lot of ups and downs. She's raising a beautiful girl in Krishna consciousness. So we feel very happy to see our children doing well, and it is very rewarding to know that you've had some little contribution on the journey of life that they have allowed you to share. It's a great privilege actually to help the young Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis in Krishna consciousness. It's a great blessing, and I'm very privileged to be able to even do this seva for all of you. Please consider me a spiritual mother.
Yeah, thanks for your words. The the words you spoke itself filled our stomach, to be frank.
Hari Bol. Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to my beloved spiritual master. They have given us this wonderful spiritual family, which is our real family.
Thank you so much. I did have one question. It's kind of a medically related. It's relevant in one sense, but you're speaking about how if you overeat or it leads into disease and all these other things. What about like trauma? Most of us, some of us have some sort of certain degree of trauma in our lives. Now, let's say you're coming from a very heavy background and all of a sudden you meet the devotees. Can you speak a little bit about that transition and that kind of filtering process of like coming from a heavy situation and then moving into a peaceful situation, how you're still kind of carrying over that baggage and what we need to do to kind of shed that a little bit?
Oh, definitely. It is very, very challenging because, you're so used to whatever dysfunction and toxicity that you experienced, in that family of origin. And now you're coming into the association of devotees. Of course, there are a lot of triggers. And I remember in the first few years of Krishna consciousness, oh my Krishna, I used to eat as though this is the last meal I'm going to eat ever. I used to pig out on the, as to eat and eat and eat. Oh my goodness, it was really, excessive. I was overeating so much. I just couldn't help myself. It was just some kind of a reaction maybe to the trauma that I had experienced and everything. And then there are triggers because I had a very, very difficult parenting. I had a very critical mother. Every Mataji who was reminding me of her, immediately I felt so much antagonism. I felt so much negativity. I felt so much disturbance when I interacted with them because they reminded me of my mother who was very critical and they had some similar characteristics. So I would think to myself, Krishna, I have left my mother, she's half a world away in India, but now there are all these other mothers who remind me of her, who trigger me so much. It took a lot of prayer. It took a lot of therapy. I had to personally undergo a lot of therapy to be healed of all that, because how on earth will I be able to help people if I'm having so much disturbance in my brain? So during the PhD program, we were all encouraged to get therapy, to work through our issues, finish up with all the forgiveness and all the things I need to do to reach that place of peace, so that now no longer this person triggers me or annoys me or irritates me or throws me off balance or just drives me nuts and things like that. Because if I'm not, it's a case of physician, heal thyself. If you are not in a position where you are at peace, how can you teach others to be peaceful? How can you help anyone else? So for me, I had no choice. I had to do all that hard work. It was also encouraged in the program. I took a lot of therapy and I overcame a lot of issues back to my childhood. But it was a process. It took time, it took effort, it took time tons of prayer. I'll tell you what helped me the most. Shall I tell you?
Yes.
Chanting the holy name with great sincerity, really calling out to Krishna, begging for his mercy to break through those anarthas. That is the one thing that changed everything else for me. If I had not taken my spiritual master's instruction to really chant my rounds, I would be, as loony as the clients, some of the clients whom I see, because I use that word loony in not a bad way. I'm talking about being mentally ill and mentally disturbed. I don't think I would have been able to overcome it in spite of all the therapy and everything the way I have, because I took shelter of the holy names and really prayed to Krishna, please help me break through. I don't want to be dysfunctional. I don't want to be toxic. I don't want to be a source of disturbance to other people, nor do I want to get disturbed by them. And that's what really helped me overcome so much difficulty to be able to now be a mental health professional. From a mental, Krishna made me a mental health professional, that is chanting of the holy name, because the holy name has complete power. It will crush all the anarthas. It will destroy all the knots that we are tied up in, and it will free you. It will liberate you, guaranteed. We just have to put our energy there. You will see miracles happen. You will see miraculous changes happen within yourself and in your relationships. I'm not exaggerating. This is the honest to goodness. I mean, if you want to go a little further, I can even tell you, I finally quit quarreling with my mother. She and I could not spend 24 hours under the same roof without going hammer and tongs, because she was very critical and I would get triggered. Very critical, I would get triggered. I reached the point where I could make peace with her nature and actually become kind and compassionate towards her. I could see how traumatized she was, that made her angry, critical, quarrelsome, fault finding, all those things. And I learned to have compassion. I learned to have kindness towards her. And when I showed those qualities of empathy, compassion, she actually started calming down. And then we went on to have a better and better relationship. But if I had not made that switch, we would have both gone to our graves, hammer and tongs, going like this at each other, carrying on, the generational trauma that came from her mother. So these things that we undergo, it comes down through the generations. Her mother was in a very, very difficult situation. Her mother died when she was very small. She was raised by a stepmother. The stepmother's people tried to kill her. I mean, a lot of things had happened to my grandmother, which she passed on to my mother. And then my mother passed it on to me. So we have to make up our minds. I'm going to be that agent of change. I'm going to stop the family curse from continuing to the next generation. I'm going to break those bonds of generational trauma, and I'm going to be a better person. I don't want to get bitter. I want to get better. And when we do that and really pray to Krishna, Krishna is so merciful. He gives all help. I promise you, you will come out of it.
Thank you for sharing.
Welcome. Okay, if everybody is happy with whatever we have discussed, and unless you have some more questions or comments, maybe we can request Bhagwan Narada Prabhu to wrap it up for us. What do you all think? Is this okay?
Yeah, everything sounds good. If anybody would like to join us on Tuesdays, 6:30, Wednesdays at 6:30, and next Sunday again at 1 p.m.
Okay.
We've been getting some requests to have our in-person meetings again, but I think it's going to take some time to kind of really let this thing clear over before we start to have our regular programs. But thank you so much, and I'll send you the YouTube link so you can share it with anybody.
Okay, thank you so much. It's a great honor and privilege to serve my spiritual children. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you all.
Hare Thank you all very much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.